The global death rate from cancer is currently above 9 million people each year and is predicted to steadily rise, especially from lung cancer. Modern detection and treatment methods are failing, hence the high death rate. Lung cancer incident rates are predicted to increase as much as 46% by 2030. So, how will we be able to save future victims with failing detection and treatment methods? I believe it's time to turn to a new alternative: nanotechnology. Lung cancer occurs within the respiratory system due to a mutation in the deoxyribonucleic acid of the cell, also known as the DNA of the cell. The DNA is located within the chromosome that's located within a nucleus of a cell. The DNA contains the blueprints for the phenotype of the body and instructions for the execution of every process, including the cell cycle, the stages of which are G1, synthesis, G2, mitosis, and cytokinesis. Mitosis is represented by the following stages. It is the division of cells after the creation of the zygote. Mitosis is not to be confused with meiosis. Meiosis is the division of cells which creates the reproductive gametes known as the sperm and ovum. The process of meiosis is displayed by the following stages. As you can see, unlike mitosis, the result is four genetically unique haploid cells rather than two identical diploid cells. Meiosis occurs within the respective reproductive organs of the parents. Meiosis in males is known as spermatogenesis, and meiosis in females is known as oogenesis. Lung cancer can occur due to an error in the execution of mitosis or meiosis. The error can be hereditary or somatic. If hereditary, then the passing of the dominant cancer gene is based off probability, meaning the patient is much more likely to have lung cancer depending on the genes of their predecessor. This is proven by a Mendelian Punnett square. Cancerous genes are normally dominant. Depending on the combination of the parent genes, probabilities can change. If a parent containing the dominant cancerous gene underwent fertilization, then when the zygote develops, there is a 50% chance for the offspring to have the genotype, resulting in lung cancer. But if both parents contain the dominant cancer gene, then there is a 75% chance for the offspring to have the genotype, resulting in lung cancer. This is proven by the Mendelian laws of dominance. If the mutation is somatic, then the mutation must have developed throughout the patient's life due to external stimuli, such as exposure to carcinogens found in first and secondhand smoke and air pollution, or ionizing radiation, like gamma and X-rays, found from radioactive sources like radon gas or nuclear power plants. Lung cancer occurs deep within the thoracic cavity, near structures such as the trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, pleural membrane, and lymph nodes. Caused by rapid cell division, a carcinoma forms, which exerts immense amounts of stress and pressure on the respiratory system, thus making respiration difficult by affecting the inspiratory, expiratory reserve volumes and tidal volumes. It can also affect external respiration, resulting in inefficient diffusion processes, creating a difficulty in breathing. This can lower heart rate and thus lower systolic and diastolic blood pressures. Lung cancer can cause the following symptoms and can elevate to the following symptoms. Frequent lung infections is caused by the increased production of mucus and fluids, resulting in the buildup of bacteria, causing acute bronchitis and bacterial pneumonia. Since symptoms of every respiratory disease is displayed, lung cancer is difficult to detect, hence relying on medical equipment like visual imaging technologies such as computed axial tomography and magnetic resonance imaging. But they are both flawed. They are both extremely costly, discomforting, and lengthy. They fail to detect stage 1 lung cancer because the tumor is too small. They often detect lung cancer in stage 2 when the tumor size has increased and metastasis has begun, thus lowering the survival rate of the patient. When treatment begins, the patients are offered surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy. Surgery is when the carcinoma is manually removed. Oftentimes, entire parts of the lung must be removed for it to be effective, but sometimes cancer cells still remain, leading to the regrowth of the tumor, thus making surgery ineffective, discomforting, and expensive. Radiation therapy occurs by aiming ionizing radiation at a tumor, which kills cancer cells, but this also kills healthy cells. Sometimes, radiation therapy doesn't kill all the cancer cells, leading to an ineffective treatment, and is often limited by the amount of healthy cells damaged in ratio to the amount of cancer cells killed. Chemotherapy occurs by injecting cancer-killing agents into the system. but this also kills other rapidly dividing cells, like hair and nail cells. Cancer cells also begin to develop resistances against the cancer-killing drugs fairly quickly, leading to an ineffective chemo treatment. Chemo and radiation are both extremely expensive, dangerous, and time-consuming. Here are the statistics for survival depending on the stage, while treatment and detection methods remain constant. As you can see, survival rates are extremely low, hence showing that modern detection methods and treatment methods are failing. So why bother to still use these methods? Why not turn to nanotechnology, where detection and treatment can be affordable, safe, effective, and customizable? Depending on the severity of the situation and patient preference, a variety of treatments can be prescribed. Treatments with delivered cargoes, such as delivered chemo, energy, and magnetic therapies. Lung cancer can be detected using gold-coated iron oxide nanoparticles, nanoparticles that are 100 times smaller than red blood cells. Normally they are toxic, but by re-engineering them and creating a biocompatible shell, they can safely be injected into the body via vaccine or intravenous administration. The nanoparticles are engineered to only target cancer cells by coating the nanoparticle with a ligand, which is often the antibody known as anti-EFGR. Since cancer cells are coated with a protein known as EFGR, the powerful attraction between the two ligands causes the nanoparticles to home in on cancer cells, even if they need to travel entire circulatory systems to do so. When the nanoparticle finds a cancer cell, the ligands bind, initiating a process known as receptor-initiated endocytosis, causing the cancer cell to swallow the nanoparticle. Nanoparticles can enter tumors by traveling the circulatory system and using a naturally occurring process known as EPR. EPR is when new blood vessels like capillaries are created to supply the tumor with vital ingredients for survival, like oxygen, which is delivered by the protein hemoglobin and red blood cells. These capillaries are often leaky, allowing small objects like nanoparticles to permeate leaky tumor vasculature. Once the nanoparticle encounters a cancer cell, receptor-initiated endocytosis occurs, eventually resulting in a large concentration of nanoparticles within the tumor. Nanoparticles safely degrade within 3 days if they are not swallowed by a cancer cell, and 11 to 12 days if swallowed. So if a scan using visual imaging technology is done on the 4th day and metallic nanoparticles are detected, then it means that cancer exists. And the best part is that the exact location of every cancer cell is revealed. Then, treatment can immediately begin. Magnetic therapy can be used. Since the nanoparticles are made up of iron, when the nanoparticles are exposed to an altering magnetic field, they rotate and generate large amounts of heat. Since they are within a cancer cell, they can literally melt the cancer cell. Treatment begins by placing the patient in a non-detectable magnetic field. This causes nanoparticles to spin, generate heat, and melt the tumor, before safely degrading by its own heat. It's tested on mice, and as shown by the infrared camera, only cancer cells heat up, without affecting surrounding tissue. The cancer cells reach 60 degrees Celsius and melt, while surrounding tissues remain cool at 40 degrees Celsius. With just a 5-minute treatment, all cancer cells are eradicated, without harming surrounding tissue or providing discomfort. Tested on mice, there is a 78 to 90% cancer cure rate, a rate much more favorable than current rates. This is clear proof that nanotechnology has applications that can treat and detect cancer better compared to traditional methods, but is still in development. Thus, there'll be a long road of further experimentation and research to be conducted before we can advance into clinical trials. But I believe, with your support, the support of numerous scientists, support of people majored in science-related fields and university graduates, including the support of corporations and companies, I believe we can receive FDA approval. And finally, together we can save lives. I'm just a high school student with a dream of significantly lowering cancer death rates, and I feel nanotechnology is the way to do so. There is a link to a survey below in the description that I request you to fill out, so that I can take the results to government officials, so that nanotechnology companies such as nanoprobes can finally get the funding and support they require to develop their nanotechnology and advance to clinical trials. After, we can finally take the fight to cancer.